Hello, this is Pat Ray from Pat's Prevention and Treatment Services. This is parenting class. Uh, Please, on your paper, put parenting as the type of group. I need your first and last name. As I've said before, I have people sending things with no name on it. So please put your first and last name. Please print it so I can read it. Also put today's date on it. And when you send it, tell me on the paper who is paying for your services. Is it yourself? Is it you're paying on over the phone with a card? Is it another agency? And if so, what is that agency and what is your caseworker, case manager, whoever it might be, what is their name? That will help me to get things in the right place. Okay, so for today, you are going to fill out and answer questions that I ask you. In the description of this video, I'm going to put a website, a web page that you will go to and you can look up all the things that I'm talking about. There will be several questions for you to ask, or excuse me, for you to answer. Okay, so today we're talking about, the topic is effective versus ineffective parenting. Knowing the difference. Okay, I have my notes down here, so I'm going to be checking with them from time to time. First of all, we want to talk about what is effective or ineffective parenting. Well, the definition, it says effective parenting is defined as the ability to interact and engage with children in such a way that they learn and grow into remarkable adults. It takes daily effort to connect with children on a meaningful and personal level. So I want you to think for a moment about the last time you really had a meaningful and personal level of interaction with your child. We spend a lot of time with our kids, but how much of that time is quality time when we really connect with our kid? Okay, so effective parenting demands both quality and quantity of time spent with children. So children of effective parents are more likely to have an understanding of the world and what is expected of them as adults. So let us think about that for a minute. If I pick up the pieces for the kid all the time, if I fix everything, if I run interference, if I make sure that everything is just perfect, the child will have an unrealistic expectation that that's the way the world is supposed to be. So as an adult, they are going to expect that from their boss, from their partner, and that is not realistic. It says the children of ineffective parents rarely have the skills needed as they enter adulthood. They find themselves on a steep learning curve as they leave high school and move into the adult world. So again, if I have babied my child, if I have picked up everything, if I've taken care of everything, if I've worked out every disagreement, if I've problem solved every issue the child has had, the child will have no skills to meet the real world. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions here, and I'm going to expect you, to the best of your ability, to give me some answers on your worksheet. Number 1, can your child predict with great accuracy what will happen as a result of their misbehavior? Do they know? Do they exactly know, pretty much exactly know what is going to happen? In your arsenal, number 2, in your arsenal of parenting tools, do you have light, medium, and heavy consequences? Light, medium, and heavy consequences. 3, do you spend time each day with your child engaging in meaningful activity or conversation? Do you let your child talk or do you rush them through? Do you want them to hurry up so you can get on to do what you want to do? These moments of meaningful activity, sharing, maybe cooking together, maybe working on the car together, whatever it might be, playing a board game together, those kinds of activities will help children to know they are valued and important. Number 4, do you take time to talk through misunderstandings and misbehaviors when you are calm and level-headed? I once had a parent tell me the parent had made a mistake. He had disciplined the child, and then he found out he not only disciplined the child, but he whipped the child with a belt. The child was possibly 3 or 4 years old. And then he found out that his child had not done whatever it was that happened. And I said to him, you need to apologize. You need to talk with this child. So I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to tell her nothing. Okay. Ineffective parenting. Are you focused on helping your child? Number 5, are you focused on helping your child become adults who face the world completely? Adults that face the world completely. That means they don't have to use alcohol and drugs. They don't have to gamble or have multiple serial relationships in order to deal with the world. They can face the world completely. Are you focused on that? Number 6, are you living the example that you want your children to meet and exceed in their future? Some people might remember mom or dad or grandma saying, do as I say, not as I do. But we know the truth of that. Children do what we do. They learn what they live. Okay. If you answered yes to 3 or less, then your parenting needs a little bit of work. If you answered yes to 4 or more, you are moving in the right direction. Okay. All right. What can we say? Let's talk about effective versus ineffective once again. We ask you, can your kids predict pretty much what's going to happen for misbehavior? Effective parents are going to sit down, they discuss the rules. Kids know. Sometimes I'll hear a parent say, well, she knows. And I said, well, have you ever discussed it with her? Well, no, but she knows. No, we're not. Kids aren't mind readers. They're pretty smart. But let's give them all the materials to work with. Effective parents discuss the rules with their children and make sure they understand the expectations. They also make sure they know what the consequences are and that they understand what they are. Ineffective parents tend to assume that children understand expectations. Parents often forget the rules themselves or enforce them sporadically, which is not helpful. Because the kid knows then, well, sometimes I get away with it, sometimes I don't. So let's play the lottery. Let's take the chance. Number 2, in your arsenal of parenting tools, do you have light, medium, and heavy consequences? Effective parents keep a variety of tools at hand. They recognize that children make mistakes and that this is different from deliberate disobedience. Not everything a child does is direct disobedience. Okay. Ineffective parents tend to see any kind of misbehavior as willful and manipulative. They often feel that the child is somehow trying to deliberately do something to hurt them. They fail to see degrees of misbehavior and only discipline their children when they have had enough of their mess. So they wait until they're totally frustrated. Ineffective parenting. Number 3, what about this one? Do you spend time with your child every day, engaging in meaningful activity or conversation? Effective parents make time for this every day. It could be that on the way home from school, they really talk about their day and what was going on. It could be that they have a special time. Maybe it's before bed, whatever it might be. It's very important for them to have loving and nurturing activities and conversations with their children. Okay. Ineffective parents tend to let days go by without meaningful contact between them and their children. When you go to bed at night and you think back over the day with your children, how much of it was spent correcting, disciplining, verbally abusing, frustrated? How much of that day? When was during the day? Was there a time when you sat down, gave them a hug, told them you loved them, and talked about something the kid wanted to talk about? Number 4, do you take time to talk through misunderstandings and misbehaviors with your children when you are calm and level-headed? Effective parents use the times of misbehavior and mistakes as teaching tools. They discuss the expectations and help kids to step back and look at their motives and hidden reasons for their misbehavior. Ineffective parents tend to blame themselves for their children's issues. If a child misbehaves, it becomes about their lack of parenting skills and not about the child's mistakes or reasons. Okay, a couple of more here. Are you focused on helping your children become adults who can face the world completely? Effective parents realize that or recognize that the true test of parenting is when their child becomes an adult. They realize that children tend to take detours along the way, as many of us has, and they need to make allowances for that. They stay focused on helping children learn from mistakes and help them to use new learning. They are often more concerned with the final person their children become rather than the bumps in the road. Ineffective parents have difficulty separating their children's behavior from who they are. They believe that it is imperative for the child to behave or in order for them to be seen as good parents. Many parents are concerned with how their children's behavior reflects on them. So, number 6, are you the living example that you want your children to meet and exceed in their lives? Number 1, effective parents recognize that they are examples. They are the examples their children base their lives upon. They also know that behavior speaks much louder than words. They live out each day as the person they want their children to be in the future, recognizing that their children will often exceed them in life. Ineffective parents, failing to recognize the example they are setting, and setting and their behaviors say things like don't smoke as they smoke a cigarette, don't get drunk, don't drink as they do. These parents think that telling children the right thing to do is an effective tool. In reality, though, they are setting their children up to live the same way or worse as years go by. So, parenting is the toughest job that you will ever do, the toughest job that you will ever love and hate. Recognizing your tendencies and making plans to overcome them is the first step in becoming a more effective parent. So take an inventory. What are your strengths? What do you do well with your kids? We talked about a lot of things here. Which ones of those are you doing? Are there some that you would like to do or do more of? Parenting is one of the hardest, most important jobs that we will ever have in our lives. They're only little ones. Before you know it, they're all grown up, gone on their way, having their own families. Take time with them today and spend time, really good time with them, meaningful time, listening to them, paying attention, know what they like, what they don't like. Spend some time asking them what would they like to do with you. I know that for some of you, your children are not always available to you to do these things. But this is the time then to think about and make a plan for the future. When you do have those children close to you all the time, how are things going to be different? Or maybe you're a brand new parent. So if you are that brand new parent and you are just starting out, set some goals. Keep these things in mind. Live like you want your children to live. Now I need that progress note. I need you to take a picture of it. I need you to send it to me, either through my email, pat@changeisachoice.org, or text it to me, 217-766-9132, first and last name, date, and the type of group, which is parenting. The anger management session also goes with parenting. Parenting is a 2-hour session. The first session is what we're doing right now, the parenting skills. Second session is emotion management. Being the most effective parent means that I will combine those two. So I need a progress note for each one of these videos. Okay, thank you and have a really great day.